Okay, so my name is William. Okay, today's video is called "What Does the Bible Say About Antarctica?" So now I'm getting to the Antarctic. Now you're saying, and you might be asking, well, even under what the Antarctic means, it means the opposite of the North. Okay, which is south. Okay, and now, okay, now we can get into the geography of Antarctica and different languages. Okay, not the animals. I'll do the animals in part 2 because I don't want to get too long of that. Okay, I don't want to make this video too long. Okay, so let's do that. So, geography. In Spanish is geografía. Geografía. Now, Antarctica. But first, yeah, and then geography, and then also in Mandarin, it's daily. And you can see in both simplified and traditional Chinese characters. They're the same. Okay, now we can get into the word Antarctica. Now, Antarctica. I put Antarctica in Spanish, but they also, but Google Translate pronounces it as Antarctica. Which I'll get into right now.
Antártida.
So Antarctica and then Antarctica. So Arctic. Okay, so Antarctica, which is Antarctica. Okay, and there is So that's it. And then if I want to see it, if you want to see it in Mandarin, it's Nanjizhou in Mandarin. Okay, if you want to see, and here's in both simplified and traditional Chinese characters. Okay, now Antarctica. Which is
Antártida.
yeah, Antarctica. I put Ninjimu for that one. Okay, and now for Antarctic.
Antártico.
It is Antarctico. And now in Mandarin, it's Nanji. Okay, now South Pole. is Polo Sur.
Polo Sur.
Polo Sur. Okay, Polo Sur.
Polo Sur.
Polo Sur. Polo Sur. Yeah, Polo Sur. Okay. Sur. Okay, and now in Mandarin I put Nenji Z for South Pole in Spanish, for South Pole in Mandarin, Nenji Z. Now, Antarctic Ocean. Yes. Right by the land of Antarctica, there's a place called there is an ocean called the Antarctic Ocean. Okay, Antarctic Ocean in Spanish is
Océano Antártico.
Oceano Antarctico. Okay, now in Mandarin, this is Nanji Haiyang is how to say Antarctic Ocean in Mandarin. Okay, now we can get into Nanji Haiyang. Okay, now so yeah, Nanji Haiyang. Yeah, now Southern Ocean. Now another name for the Antarctic Ocean is the Southern Ocean. Yeah, that's another name for the Antarctic Ocean. It's called the Southern Ocean. In Spanish, we call it
Océano del Sur.
Océano del Sur. But in Mandarin, it's something different. Nanbu Haiyang and Nandayang. Okay, Nanbu Haiyang and then Nandayang. Okay, Nandayang. Nandayang. Okay, so that's how to say the Southern Ocean in Mandarin. Now, the Antarctic Circle. The Antarctic Circle. Nanjichen. Okay, that's. Oh, sorry. Let's do it in Spanish first. So.
Círculo Antártico.
So it's Círculo Artico. Okay, Artico in Spanish, and Nanjichen in Mandarin. Okay, now we can get into Southern Lights. Now, the Southern Lights, as long as you know, I put Luces del Sur.
Luces del Sur.
In Spanish. But I put Nanji Guang in Mandarin. Now, the name of the Southern Lights, were just Aurora Australis. Aurora Australis. Okay, that's the name of the Southern Lights.
Aurora austral.
Aurora austral.
澳洲极光。
Yeah, okay, 澳洲极光. Okay.
澳洲极光。
Yeah, 澳洲极光. Okay. I did not put that there, but yeah, that's I put Net极光, but yeah. But I can go to do that in Google Translate. Okay, so Aurora australis. Yeah. Oh, I see. So what is Aurora australis? Well, it's the Southern Lights. The name of the Southern Lights. Now, let me show you where they are. Okay. Okay, yeah. Aurora australis is the Southern Lights. Okay? And this is too big. And I want it center, please. Not Aurora. That's not what I want. It's Aurora Australis. Okay, now I fixed it, guys. So, because, Nanji Guang, for the Southern Lights, I put, yeah, Google Translate translates him as, as
澳大利亚极光，
Adalia Ji Guang, and then also,
澳洲极光，
and also Ji Guang in Mandarin. You know, that's okay too, but But that's on the continent of Australia and stuff, so. I think most Mandarin speakers will say Nanji Guang for Southern Lights, but that's just my guess. Now, the South Star. Well, I know a lot of people talk about the North Star, which is, yeah. And now, which is Polaris. But what about the South Star? Have you heard about the South Star?
Estrella del Sur.
It's Estrella del Sur in Spanish.
南星.
Now, I know Google Translate is Nanxing, but I put Nanjixing for how to say South Star in Mandarin, okay? Now, yeah, Nanjixing. Now, it asks me, now, what's the name of the South Star? Well, that's a good question. It's called Sigma Octandus. Yep, Sigma Octandus. That's the name of the South Star. Yes, Sigma Octandus. That's the name of the South Star.
Sigma Octantis.
And it's still called Sigma Octandus in Spanish. But in Mandarin, you know.
西格玛奥克坦蒂斯.
Sigma Octandus. Sigma Octandus is how to say Sigma Octandus in Mandarin. You can see it's in bold, simplified, and traditional Chinese characters. Now you can get into this one. So, monopole. So now the monopole. The word monopole in Spanish is monopolo.
Monopolo.
And in Mandarin it's
单极子.
Danjizi. Okay, Danjizi. Okay, and now dipole. Dipole. In Spanish it's
Dipolo.
dipolo. But in Mandarin it's
偶极子.
OGZ. Okay? And that's it, okay? And here I got them all in both simplified and traditional Chinese characters. Okay? And that's it, okay? And that's what I'm going to be showing you because I'll do the animals next time. But you know, those are the so that's the words for the geographic and geography. So that's the words, those are the geography words of the South Pole. Okay? In Spanish and Mandarin. Okay, because I want to show you those are the languages I'm learning. And I try to show you can learn different languages for the Lord. And right here, I'm trying to show you I'm learning Spanish and Mandarin for the Lord. Okay? Because those are languages I'm learning. Okay? Spanish and Mandarin. You know? You can also call it, or you can say Spanish, or you can also say, another way to say it is that I'm learning Spanish and Chinese for the Lord. Okay? You know, that's what languages I'm trying to learn. Okay? And hopefully you are learning other languages for the Lord too. Okay? didn't study these yet because I'm still a beginner. I'm still a beginner in Mandarin. Now in Spanish, well, I'm on intermediate in Spanish, but I didn't study these in Spanish yet, so that's why I got on my phone. So okay, so now we can get into what is the Antarctic. Okay, first of all, the book does not talk much about the Antarctic, but it's nice about talking about the Antarctic anyway. The Antarctic is a great place, but well, but what about going to the Antarctic? Well, I don't know, but that's something you have to think of. Now, can you go to the Antarctic? Well, okay, it says travelers do not need a permission to go to Antarctica, but tourism operators must have a valid permit. First, to pick a background on why to visit Antarctica. Antarctica is not a country, but but a continent is protected by the Antarctic Treaty, which preserves a peaceful and scientific use. And how much money it is to go there? Oh, it can cost about $5,000 to $15,000 per person just to go to Antarctica. Just to go to fly to Antarctica. Yeah, and if you want to spend that money just to go to Antarctica. Yeah, I know, I just got something in my nose, but I'm sorry, my nose is itchy. Anyway. So Antarctica uprising uplift rates suppresses conventional geology. Okay, let's read about that, okay? So land is not supposed to rise this fast. Generations of geologists have been trained to the thick in terms of slow, steady processes to explain Earth's features. Now, the new results to show that the continental crust underlying Antarctica is rising rapidly and parts of massive ice sheet have been melting away. This unexpected bounce that might help position the timing of severe efforts and that occurred in northern North America near the close ice age. Since 1995, entire ice shelves have size of cities have been falling from the North Antarctic Peninsula into the sea. The land below the ice has been moving up the elevations where only ice lay. An European team of satellites to track Antarctica's up and down motion, publishing the Earth in preparing science letters. A Newcastle University press release said the land in the region is actually rising at a visual rate of 15 millimeters a year, a greater that can be accounted for the present-day elastic response alone. The team investigated reasons why it has been rising so quickly. The answer points at made a mantle deep below the crust. Temperature or chemical composition differences. They can get a mantle material circulating 250 miles below the surface, flowing more smoothly than expected. Its viscosity or resistance to flow is somehow 10 times lower than other zones beneath Antarctica. Lead researcher Grace Need told Newcastle University, "You wouldn't expect a rebound to happen over thousands of years, and instead we have been able to measure it in just over a decade. We can almost see it happening, and it's just incredible. We would expect major Earth movements and take thousands of years instead of a few dozen measured years. And it could be because of the relentless old age message she is undoubtedly heard of her textbooks and teachers of all her life. For example, standard and 13 ideas is the timing of the last ice age and closing between the 10 and 12,000 years ago. Supposedly since then, northern ice regions have been rising hundreds of feet in thick ice sheets and melted lightened the load. Secularists estimated that the land of the Hudson Bay area were the ice sheets thickened during the Ice Age. Rose about 1,300 feet in the last 10,000 years. Today, viewers of evidence of ancient lake shorelines look at giant bathtub rings marked in Michigan area rocks. Routine teaching asserts that the area's uplift needed these thousands of years. Even at its exponential rate of 50 millimeters per year, Hudson Bay, with its rebound of 1,300 feet, would still take close to 27,000 years, far too slow to account circular estimates. Expressed another way of 39 millimeters a year, quite up to 1,300 feet, and a question in 10,000 years of secularists instead of Olymp's Ice Age. This being 50 millimeters per year is way too slow to fit the secular time frame applied to the Hudson Bay area. Misstretch illustrates volatility overlaying rates onto past events. Clearly, upbound rates were faster in the past, undoubtedly fast enough to accommodate even Hudson Bay's remarkable rebound within a biblical time frame. 1,300 feet of rebound, approximately 4,000 years, requires initially phenomenal rebound rate. But as Antarctic studies illustrates, phenomenal rates and are beginning to be the norm. More research has been discovered whether or not deep beneath the portion of the Michigan was 10 times vicious when those areas rebounded at close of the Ice Age. But now we know with the possession of that GPS technology efforts, that upward crustal motion is going to be much faster than previously thought. Rebound does not require that the long ages that circular geological standards would expect today's rocks, nor does it require long to explain yesterday's geology. Okay, and that's another one. Now, let's get into this one now. So, fossil trees in Antarctica preserve ancient protons. Okay, a team of let me see. Okay, a team of scientists led by Eric Gobrinson recently discovered a forest of fossil trees in Antarctica. Gobrinson, a paleozoologist at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, claims that this is the oldest polar forest in record of the solar polar region. The trees were found in Antarctica's Transantarctic mountains and include mixes of evergreens, deciduous trees, and ginkgos. The discovery should be a surprise to those who dig Genesis and its little history. The Bible clearly describes a global flood that affected all land masses. Why should Antarctica be an exception? The discovery should be no surprise to those who take Genesis as little history. Okay, fossil trees in Antarctica preserves ancient protons. Dinosaur and mosasaur, passive swimming reptiles, also occur on every continent, including Antarctica. These discoveries demonstrate that much warmer global climate existed in the pre-flood world. Warm weather plants like Glossoteris have found in the Permian rocks on Antarctica for decades and are often used to make planktonic reconstructions. Secular science admits that Antarctica was not always a cold in the past. Life science Stephanie Pappas wrote, Antarctica wasn't always a land of ice. Millions of years ago, when the continent was still part of huge southern hemisphere landmass called Gondwana, trees flourished near the South Pole. Some creation authors had to explain the presence of temperature climate fossils like trees, dinosaurs, and colbits in Antarctica by making claims on Earth and somehow rolled in on the axis during the flood, resulting in the North Pole shifting to the Central Asia in present position. But this explanation appears to cause more problems than it solves. First temperature of tropical type flora and fauna forests like dinosaurs are found buried in the flood rocks and even in central China, which would have been the North Pole if the Earth rolled on its axis, and everywhere else on Earth. Thus, even the entire globe was warmer in the pre-flood world. Second, the extreme forces required to explain such radical shifts in Earth's axis never been adequately resolved and remains in speculation. Gulbranson and his team think the fossil trees they were found are about 280 million years old, which places them on Vermilion system strata. The discovering scientists have found the trees were so rapidly buried in volcanic ash, and they have been contained fossilized plant cells that are fully mummified and preserved down into a circular level. They reported the plants that are so well preserved in the rock of some amino acid building blocks and that made up the tree's protons can still be extracted, said Gulbranson, who specializes the geochemistry techniques. How could protons of original amino acids survive for millions of years? And the secular science community has no valuable answers to explain remarkable finds like these. Scientists have found that trees were so rapidly buried in volcanic ash, and they contained fossilized plant cells that virtually mummified, preserved down to the cellular level. Okay, cellular level. Tree scientists have found the trees so rapidly buried in volcanic ash, and they contain the fossilized plant cells and virtually mummified. Preserved down to the cellular level, fossil trees Antarctica preserve ancient protons. So fossil trees themselves tell a different lens, a far more recent story. And that one fits with the biblical account of a global flood just thousands of years ago. These trees were buried rapidly during the global flood described in Genesis. Temperature and tropical plants and animals were caught up and quickly buried in the ash, mud, and said to engulf them in this catastrophic event. These fossils remind us that God's word is true. Okay. And now let's learn about the life of Antarctica, life on the ice. Okay? So Antarctica, life on the ice. God created the world to be inhabited. Right down the frozen Antarctica, right down the frozen continent, Antarctica. Yet, as he crossed Antarctica in 1912, Robert Scott, the second man to reach the South Pole, limited his diary. This is an awful place. As this come from assessment, the brutal Antarctic conditions later claimed that Lane Scott and his crew. Early Antarctic explorers like Robert Scott likely never imagined the growing number of tourists. And now cruise the treacherous continent at the bottom of the world. They catch glimpses of penguins, whales, and icebergs. Long after the legacy of these intrepid explorers continues to surrender to this land of mystery. About 4,000 people in Antarctica at different times of the year. About the time of residence of scientists from the various disciplines, covering up various stations of our continent, as well as ultimate natural laboratory. Astronomers observe night skies free of light pollution. Oceanographers of light currents. Climatologists examine the ice, looking for answers about the past. Geologists study the rocks, mountain ranges above and below the ice. But some scientists are searching for the last thing expect to find one of the most inhospitable places on Earth, life. This is nearing the beginning of Antarctic exploration. Scientists knew this is the frozen continent of harbored life. When scientists discovered Robert Scott's frozen party, they have found the first Antarctic plant fossil among their possessions. This relic told the story of a much different, less frigid time in history when plant and animal life flourished on the continent. Now, particularly within the last few decades, scientists have discovered not only evidence of that dinosaurs and plants lived on the continent thousands of years ago, but it's also growing the list of creatures that are called Antarctica home today. Isaiah chapter 45 verse 18 explains that the earth was created and inhabited. Antarctica is clear evidence that God's creation has spread out to proclaim its glory, and even the most extreme environment in the world. Now, British explorer Robert Scott and his crew set off off Wales in 1910 and bound for Antarctica on their ship Terra Nova. Okay, now how did Antarctica get down there? Antarctica is a place seems out of place, though we don't know about the original foundation of this continent look like. We know that it is part of the pre-flood supercontinent that always near the bottom of the world. This catastrophic global flood of Noah's day at the fossil-bearing layers on Genesis chapter 8. When the foundations of the deep burst open, they have ruptured the tectonic plates, breaking up who have been on a landmass into separate continents. The major tectonic shifting that moved the continents on the islands to their current locations. Evolutionists have drafted the different story about Antarctica's past based on their discoveries of fossilized tree stumps, coal beds, and leaf mats. They believe that Antarctica was covered by lush forests some 260 million years ago, after Antarctica broke away from South America 35 million years ago. And they say climate had begun changing, gaining ice sheets, which aggregated over millions of years. Earth's cooling climate, environmental stresses on the forest until they eventually went extinct. However, according to creationists, the tree stumps and leaf mats found in Antarctica don't present forests that grow on the continent, but they were carried by the global floodwaters from elsewhere laid down in the sediments on Antarctica. After the massive volcanic activity during the catastrophic flood, the oceans were warmer and the air temperatures were cooler. These post-flood conditions instigated colder temperatures, which covered about 1/3 of the Earth's surface in ice sheets and glaciers. This ice states lasted for several hundred years. Now, Antarctica's ice layers stay frozen to their location in polar latitudes. Which absorb no direct sunlight. Even in the summer, it remains low and on the horizon. The oceans on the continent sits on the average elevation of 7,500 feet due to the mountain ridges in the thick layers of ice. Okay, continent of extremes. Antarctica is the driest, coldest, windiest, brightest, highest place on Earth. Not exactly the different level of vultures, but for half a year, the summer sun shines continuously. Though the sun hangs low on the horizon, its reflection on the ice end, they are too bright to view comfortably. And then the polar winter darkness engulfs the continent for another 6 months. Weather temperatures can coast around 14 degrees Fahrenheit, and the temperatures in these regions plummet to negative 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And in 2010, satellites recorded Antarctica's temperature to be at negative 135 degrees, negative 135.8 degrees Fahrenheit, the coldest temperature ever recorded on Earth. Okay, so negative 135.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay. Wind gusts can be less up for 50 miles per hour and reach over 100 miles per hour. Though snow and ice build up throughout the year, Antarctica receives an average of less than 2 inches of rain annually, surpassing the Sahara as the world's largest desert, the size of the United States and Mexico combined. Antarctica is a massive continent with several large and small islands. 99% of the continent is coated with ice and snow up to 3 miles and thick in some places. Above and beneath the layers of snow and ice are jagged mountain ridges of plunging canyons. The coast is lined with ice shelves and some larger than British Isles. In fact, if Antarctica thawed, scientists estimate that the melted ice would rise ocean levels by 200 feet. In such severe environment, how could anything survive? Okay, now, life on ice. As you might expect, most of Antarctica features no trees or shrubbery or lush grass. A vast bit of biting sheet on ice and snow. Though most of the continent is white on the northern coastline and several of the large islands, you can find green vegetation. During the summer months, on the South Orkney Islands, the South Shetland Islands, and the western Antarctic Peninsula, 100 species of mosses and 30 species of liverwort bloom mostly in the rocks of intertidal areas. The largest of Antarctica's native vegetation are 2 species of flowering plants: Antarctic hair grass and and Antarctic pearlwort. But how do these plants pollinate without pollinators? To scatter their pollen, the plants use one of Antarctica's most abundant exports, wind. Africa is home over 1,000 species of mammals. Asia has 500 species. But to see Antarctica's resident of land animals, one scientist said, you have to have a microscope. Antarctica has no mammals, reptiles, or amphibians. In fact, the largest animal is an endemic insect. And its wingless midge and a vertebrate only half of 1 centimeter long. But this creature spends 9 months of the year frozen, solid. In the warmer regions of Antarctic islands, worms and beetles and tardigrades and mites and springtails thrive in the mosses. Now in the water and air, contrasting of the lack fauna, water searching of Antarctica's Antarctica. Okay, so the contrasting of the land fauna, the water surrounding Antarctica teem with some most diverse creatures in the world. The dense waters around the continent press against the bottom of the ocean, and cause the water to upwell, bringing the nutrients allow algae and pectin to flourish. Tiny krill abound. Some scientists of the total population of Antarctic krill weighs more than all humans on Earth. These abundant crustaceans provide food for fish, seabirds, and mammals, including the largest mammals of all, whales and submarmots, humpback whales, sperm whales, minke whales, blue whales, and others migrate to icy waters. On the krill buffet, with adults scooping down with over 4 tons of krill a day. Feeding on crustaceans and plankton, a small fish, Antarctic minke whales, and glide through the waters of the Southern Ocean. But there's another word to say the Antarctic. There's another way of saying the. There's another word of saying the Antarctic Ocean. Now, several places of penguin, including familiar Toxodoid emperor penguin, soar through the water for food and huddle on the ice sheets of warmth. Orcas patrol the waters as a top predator, and 6 different species of blue marine seals plow through the seas, joining the host creatures such as sponges and sea spiders and mollusks, and salps and gelatinous clear creature resembles a jellyfish. The fish with these waters equipped with antifreeze to keep their blood from freezing. On the islands, birds such as sheathbills, petrels, Antarctic terns, several thousands of albatross, sandpipers, and gulls, and make their nests. Even birds of fair water natives, and even warm climates of temperatures deep. Anatoly penguins and leopard seals, Anatoly penguins and leopard seals congregate the ice floes of eastern Antarctica. Now, why all the interest? For evolutionary scientists, the preoccupation life in Antarctica is really an interest of possibly life, even more hostile terrain in outer space. Scientists think that discoveries might explain how microbes, supposedly low-life forms, supposedly in ice environments like Jupiter's moon Europa, where they believe oceans exist beneath ice. After all, if evolution found a way to equip life with form, the far-flung frozen reaches of Antarctica, it is conceivable that should have found a way to evolve in other extreme locations in space. A finding like this, they think that could help mysteries surrounding what they believe to be their own evolutionary beginnings. We have many scientific, biblical reasons to doubt that possibly of life elsewhere in the universe. But if someday we do not discover microbes or signs of life on a planet or moon, creationists do not take it off guard, for we can be sure it was created by God. Now, bacteria. Some biologists will discover in Antarctica's smaller life forms, and also diverse bacteria survive in a low nutrient soil, a little water, and no sunlight for months of the year. One hardly bacteria thrives grabbing hydrogen, carbon monoxide, and carbon dioxide from the air. Now, researchers have found microbes thriving Schedule Lake in 2,625 feet under the ice. In 2020, scientists discovered how microbes live in these lakes without sunlight as bedrock erodes. The crushed sediment releases gases trapped inside. Once of the microbes found methane to survive. Another microbe in the lakes converts ammonium into nitrate for energy. Now, life below. Okay, now minimal water periods consist of constant darkness, below freezing temperature, and ultraviolet radiation. The snow's reflection to make interior continent a high still to life. And another scientist took soil samples of the continent of Antarctica. These something they found nowhere else in the world. Nothing when scientists have cored sample ice from the mountain in the middle of Antarctica. They found no microbial life at all. To their knowledge, this is the first since of finding soil that doesn't seem to support any microbial life. Like the sector of Troy hot springs instead of lakes, and frozen tundra, nuclear sites, and broader environments. But they can't survive richer parts of Antarctica. Still, life has shown up surprise scientists of Sydney in both areas. In early 2021, a team was drilling through the ice and submitted on the ocean floor to the hole lowered the camera, which hit a rock and fell into sediment after righting itself. The camera caught a steam brave scan the rock. The shocking footage captured a sort of film cleaning the rocks. The layer of bacteria called the microbial mat. The hanging from the stone were sponges of other filter feeders. These creatures were 160 miles from the nearest open water, over 1,600 feet beneath the ice, far away from the sunlight, and known currents that bring food drifting along for the stationary creatures is snug. It is a place where essentially we didn't expect this kind of community to live at all. Said Hal Griffiths, a marine biogeographer. This is showing us life and more resilient and more robust than we ever could have expected. It can put up these conditions. Some sea creatures live long right on the edge of Antarctica ice. Now, wondering to wander. Evolutionists wander to each new species and evidence of life. They find hidden treasures in the snow and ice. Creationists have different reasons to wander. Life in Antarctica doesn't exist by random chance survival. In its wisdom, God gave creatures and humans the DNA to adapt to different environments, and even to us, and severe environments, left in the wake in the flood of judgment. The wonder of God's creation does not necessitate in the discovery of it. God created this world for His own glory, but our Creator is pleased when we exercise dominion. by expanding our knowledge and discovery of the planet. And he gave us to Stoward, being flabbergasted by each a new find, being a form of worship, as we accept our limits and understanding acknowledge of God's incredible design and care for this earth. God knows the galaxies beyond our farthest view, and every microorganism that dwells in the deepest undiscovered Antarctic lake. He found them, sees them, and provides their existence, and for us, for this life-filled planet. Now, Antarctica's global role. Okay, the frozen continent plays an important role of monitoring our planet's temperatures, the world's atmospheric pressure, humidity, air temperatures, and the wind patterns are monitored thanks to processes in Southern Ocean, which surrounds Antarctica. The Southern Ocean, newly recognized the world's fifth ocean, connects all the oceans. Cold Antarctic waters, known as Antarctic bottom water, form the regions of the Antarctica's continental shelf due to the salinity and frigidity. These waters drove the global ocean circulation, feed oxygen, carbon, and nutrients to these other oceans, and help control the climate by transporting heat. Additionally, Antarctica stores 90% of Earth's ice, and this ice reflects some of the sun's rays to help the temperature on Earth bearable. Okay, and this certain Earth, okay, it's mixing it off a reflection of Comfort's College. God created the world to be inhabited, right down to the fourth continent. Okay, right down to the frozen continent at the bottom of the globe. And that's what Antarctica is. Okay? Now you know what Antarctica is, okay? And I told you the geography words of Antarctica in Spanish and Mandarin, because that's all it's also the languages that I'm learning. Okay? And I hope you can learn other languages for the Lord too. Okay? Because so that we can preach the gospel to people in those languages. Well, to the people that don't speak English anyway. You know, Spanish and Mandarin. That's what I'm learning. And you can tell me what languages you're learning on the comments below. Yeah, I'll put this back on 100% now. Okay. I'll save this. Okay. So now, I can fix, now, if I got this wrong, I can fix this later. But, I also got the animals of the Arctic and also Antarctic. I'll do that maybe in a part 2. Okay? But, some other time. Now, I have time to finish this, because I'm not finished with this yet. Okay, anyway, so... And you also have to get safe according to the Bible. So, point of evolution is a damn souls to hell. And you go to heaven to believe, oh Lord Jesus Christ. Salvation is by faith alone and grace on Jesus Christ alone. And once they are saved, by easy beliefs in the truth. Okay, meaning you can't lose your salvation. Once they are, and by easy beliefs that salvation is easy. All you do is just believe in Jesus Christ for salvation. Okay, now we talk about next video is it's called What Does the Bible Say About Rainbows? Okay, I'll get to that next video. So yeah, okay, so I got into 2 Christmas stuff. Well, the Arctic and Antarctica. I'll talk about rainbows next video, okay? because I gotta go right now. But thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.